This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast about the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we're going to pause our Hall of Fame interview series just briefly because there's a lot of current excitement on campus we want to cover, starting with Bates field hockey. Yes, the number 4 nationally ranked Bobcats won the program's first NESCAC title over the weekend, defeating Middlebury in a shootout and blanking Wesleyan 2-0 in the championship game. Plus, it's time to preview a trio of winter sports as swimming, women's basketball, and men's basketball all get their seasons underway this week. All that and more coming up on the Bates Bobcast. The Bates field hockey team traveled to Medford, Massachusetts over the weekend and returned as the 2025 NESCAC champion. The Bobcats and 7-time defending NCAA champion Middlebury College played to a scoreless tie through regulation and through 2 overtime periods on Saturday in the NESCAC semifinal. But the Bobcats prevailed 2-1 in the shootout as senior captain Brooke Maloney Kohlenberg and junior Sophie O'Sullivan found the back of the cage. The weekend belonged to the Bates defense as sophomore goalie Ava Donohue made 11 saves on Saturday and 11 more on Sunday as the Bobcats defeated Wesleyan 2-0, becoming the first NESCAC field hockey team to record 3 shutouts in the 26-year history of the conference tournament. Maloney Kohlenberg and sophomore Caroline Nowak both scored in the win over the Cardinals as the Bobcats secured their first ever NESCAC title. The awards came pouring in as Donohue was named the NESCAC Player of the Week for the second straight week. The coaching staff of Danny Kogut, Kelly McManus, and Ian Wag was named the NESCAC Coaching Staff of the Year, and 3 Bobcats earned all NESCAC honors, including junior captain Haley Dwight, who was also named the NESCAC Defensive Player of the Year. Dwight and Donohue join us this week for a joint interview to talk all things Bates field hockey, your 2025 NESCAC champion. Haley, let's start with you. First of all, to be named NESCAC Defensive Player of the Year, what does that mean to you? Obviously, you've been a key force on this defense for a couple of years now, but to have that honor, what does that mean in terms of, the context of this team's success and everything?
It's actually such an unreal feeling, and the first thing that comes to mind is I just wouldn't be able to do it without the rest of my team. Like, it's such an honor to have that title, but the first thing that just pops into my brain is, yes, I play defense, but I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have these saves and I wouldn't have these opportunities without the rest of my team. Like, it's a team award at the end of the day for me.
Yeah, 8 defensive saves to lead the conference. Ava, what's it like to have Haley in front and sometimes behind you there in goal?
It's amazing. Like, I truly have never felt safer on the team, on the field. I know that Haley's my rock, and anytime that I feel uncomfortable or in any way, shape, or form, like I'm under attack or under pressure, Haley's there for me, either behind me on the goal line or in front of me taking those transfers and big hits. Like, I truly couldn't imagine a better person for this award than Haley.
I talked to Ava about this a little bit after the title game, but Wesleyan outshot Bates 26-6. But just watching the game, I never felt worried. It looks like Bates never felt worried. Haley, what's that confidence like defensively? Not all shots are created equal. I looked like Bates was pretty much in control, it seemed like.
Yeah, I think for us, like, when you're 2-0 at the half in a game like that, it's a blanket, but it's not enough. But at that point, you just want to our defense. Our team, we thrive on defense. Like, that's our strong suit. So then we knew in the second half that it's naturally going to be a more defensive game. Wesleyan, they're going to want to score. They're going to generate more attacking opportunities. That's just how the game goes, and we trust our defense. We play great team defense all over the field. So naturally in the second half, like, we were just not on our heels. We were still hunting, but we were playing our best and our cleanest defense. And if that means that Wesleyan was generating good offense, great. But there was definitely confidence in the back end being like, we have this, we're just going to lock it down. We're up 2-0 and we're going to do our job back there. So there was definitely a calm feeling back there, even though the score or the stats say otherwise. But we definitely did not feel the pressure of, oh my God, Wesleyan is dominating. Like, we knew we had it. So that was good.
Ava, it's official now. We get to host Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games this weekend. How exciting is this opportunity?
It's amazing. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to have it here and play with my team on our home turf, because that is just such an honor to A, win the NESCAC championship, and then B, get to be a part of this NCAA tournament in such a significant way.
Haley, I'm curious, in terms of the Wednesday game, right? It's Stevens and Amherst. Are you all going to be watching it together or anything, or how's that going to go?
I mean, the game's at 5 p.m. We have practice, so
Okay.
I think, yes, we're going to check the stats after. We're going to, of course, we're going to be curious how the game went.
Yeah.
But the one thing we love about postseason, it's so focused on us. It doesn't matter about our opponent. We've seen everybody. We know everybody. We know everybody's record. So at this point, it's like, how can we be better for the weekend? And maybe we'll look at some of our past games, of course, but just like working on us specifically from the weekend and moving forward. So it doesn't matter the record, the score, anything. So, I mean, we played Stevens last year. We played Amherst earlier this year, but none of that matters. We just focus on us. And yes, we'll be curious for sure. But in the grand scheme of things, we stay focused. And yeah.
Haley, as one of the captains, how cool is it to be one of the people who gets to receive the trophy first there at Tufts?
It's just such an insane feeling. And I had a flashback like last year watching our previous captains, Anna and Amanda, watching them receive the runner-up trophy last year. Like it was such a amazing moment even just to be a runner-up. And then when Lucy, Brooke, and I walked up there, we're like, this is our moment. Like, this is our team, and we earned this, and we are blessed enough to be able to receive this and like bring it over to our team. So it's just like it's such an amazing feeling, and like it's so overwhelming when you think about the past years and where we've come and what happened last year, and here we are now. It's just unreal.
Yeah, and Ava, as a sophomore, what's it like, with these captains and their leadership?
I mean, we have such a great group of girls on our leadership, but Haley, Brooke, and Lucy are actually the most amazing women I've ever met. Truly such leaders. They're so confident, and I'm so confident in them. I truly, seeing them grab that trophy, like, it was so surreal. It was surreal. Like, I wasn't even the one grabbing it, but I saw them there, and I like felt like I was living through them. Like, they are such a great group of women, and they have led us to this point, and I'm so honored to be even sitting here with Haley.
Well, and Haley, Ava mentioned this when I interviewed her on camera after the game, but the defense likes to yell nonsense a lot. Can you elaborate on yelling nonsense?
That's funny you say that. We were talking about that after the game. We were asking Ava what she like meant by that, but it does make sense. Being loud is so powerful on a field. It's very intimidating, and ever since our last mid game, we worked on that after. We were just like, we need to be louder. We need to be more aggressive. We need to be more assertive on the field. So in the back end where we talk, we're very loud, and it's very intimidating. So like, especially in our DPC unit, like, yes, we had so many on us this weekend, but our like most powerful skill is our voice and using that. So a lot of times it is nonsense. Sometimes we'll be screaming blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it'll just be like a random sound just to intimidate the other side. So I think that's what she meant in that moment. And it is true. We do. Our communication is definitely huge and such a force back there.
Were there any moments, from the weekend that kind of stand out? The shootout against Middlebury obviously stands out, but any other moments that kind of stand out to you, Ava?
I think something that we had talked about a little bit was after the Wesleyan game, or in the last minute of the Wesleyan game. I remember we were controlling the ball and moving it up the field, and I think last 14 seconds, because I did check the clock, Haley turns back to me and she just mouths, "Oh my God." And I start like freaking out, and Amy turns back and she's just smiling ear to ear. And I was like, wow, like we really just did that. Like, and I just loved seeing how absolutely like ecstatic everyone was, because that was just such a great moment, because we had known that we had won, but it was just like, wow, we're in control of the rest of the game. Like, this is ours. And it was just so amazing to feel and just see how absolutely happy everyone was.
For the first time in program history, that must mean a lot, right?
It's such a huge feat for this program, for the team that has worked for it for 4 years now, the senior class and all the classes below, and the coaches, like they're both all of their first NESCAC title, like and for Bates in general, like it's just such an amazing thing for this school, for the program, for everybody involved, and for the alum. Like, I can't even tell you how many alum have reached out to me personally, to my teammates, to the coaching staff, like hundreds and hundreds. It's such a huge thing for Bates and for field hockey and just for the school in general.
And I was driving back. I was trailing the bus by a little bit, but apparently nice welcome back on Sunday night.
Yeah, it was so amazing getting to see all of the other athletes and everyone else from just the Bates community. It's so amazing getting to bring that home to them and show them how excited we are and see how proud they are of us, because we do this for us, we do this for the community, and it's just such an honor to be able to bring that home to everyone.
So, Haley, what's the biggest focus in practice this week? For long wait till Saturday, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, feels like it. I think, again, we're just going to refine the things that maybe didn't go our way this weekend. So there's definitely, we played some great hockey this weekend, but there's still so many things to work on in just a 2 weeks time. So really honing in on those things, focusing on our body and our recovery too, and just making sure that everybody's healthy, but then working on fine-tuning the little things and getting creative with corners and generating things that are going to catch our opponent off guard. And just it's like the nitty-gritty, the IQ things now. The fitness is there, the skills are there, so it's just how can we be better than our opponent on Saturday and on Sunday.
This conference, I know we're focused on Bates, but all 8 teams that made the NESCAC tournament made the NCAA tournament. It seems like half of them are in our side of the bracket. But I mean, Ava, what are your thoughts on, it seems like you can never, it seems like you can just never get them to just go away, right? These other teams, we got to beat them again, right?
I mean, I love it. I think the NESCAC is just such an amazing conference, and everyone is so skilled and so talented. And we've played them all before, and it's going to be so great getting to get back out there. And if we do have to play them, so be it. We know how they play, and we're excited to get a shot to be better than how we were the first go around. And for teams that maybe we hadn't won to, it would be such an honor to go back and hopefully redeem ourselves, which I know we can because we're all going in with such fire and such passion, especially from last weekend. I think we all know we can do it, and that's just going to bring us to the highest point that we can get.
Yeah, the familiarity probably does help, I would say. Right?
In a way, it definitely, it's a bit comforting knowing your opponent a little bit more, but then it's also, they know us just as well. And, I mean, our team, we love our revenge season, and there's one more team.
There is one more team,
we
yeah,
can just
that's right.
address the elephant in the room, of course.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
But, so there's definitely, that fear factor and the mental block side of that and the team that we hold to such a high standard, but now realizing how capable we are and realizing that this is our moment, and if we do see them again, tough specifically, that it's going to be ours, and we're just really excited to have that opportunity and to potentially see them again. Granted, they're in our bracket, so it's a blessing in disguise, I guess.
That definitely remains a possibility. The elephant, that's what I like. That the elephant in the room.
That was funny. Did you plan that?
No.
Wait, I really like
you kind of
that.
lay up to me though.
That was good. I'm not gonna lie.
It could be a quarterfinal rematch, except this time on the Bates turf. That's got to be exciting, right?
It is exciting, for sure.
We'll see what happens. I mean, a lot of field hockey we played before then. But any other thoughts you wanted to share on the weekend and on winning that conference title you wanted to mention we haven't got to talk about yet? Either one of you?
I mean, just saying how absolutely grateful we are and how absolutely blessed we are to be in such a position, to be able to especially have that first round bye. Even that, we're just so grateful for everything that we've accomplished and where we're heading next. We're bringing in that passion, like I said, and all that excitement from what we have done recently, and we're going to show everyone what we can do.
It's really exciting because we always talk about this, how we think we're the team that's faced the most adversity in the NESCAC. We've had those losses, we've had those moments of reflection, we've changed our formation, we've changed everything, and we've had those points of this could be it or we could grow from this. So it's now we're hitting that second peak, and it's just no looking back and just seeing what we can accomplish from there. And it's just such an amazing thing that we have faced so much adversity, and here we are. So just really excited.
They are the NESCAC champions. They're ranked 4th in the country. They're hosting either Amherst or Stevens this Saturday at 11 a.m. in the Sweet 16. Haley Dwight, junior captain, NESCAC Defensive Player of the Year. Ava Donohue, sophomore goalkeeper, back-to-back NESCAC Player of the Week. Thanks so much for joining us on the Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Before we preview some winter sports seasons, it's time to wrap up the Bates football season as the Bobcats, who have been bitten by the injury bug to say the least this year, fell 24-21 to Hamilton Saturday at Garcelon Field. Head coach Matt Coyne looks back on the game against the Continentals and what lies ahead for the football program as they prepare for next year. Coach, wrapping up the football season here on the Bobcast, obviously you're down to very few healthy players, especially at the quarterback position. But I thought, Connor Hennessey on Saturday showed me something there. He had 2 long touchdown passes, a couple more deep balls that maybe should have gone for touchdowns that he threw pretty well. What did you see from the youngster the first year?
I was very impressed with him. I think it was a difficult situation to be in because, obviously, he did a lot of reps on scout team this year and kept developing. And for Connor, he hasn't played football in 2 years. He was hurt his senior year. He had a knee injury that held him out. So I know he was, extremely excited to get this opportunity. And we have full faith in the guys we bring in this program. And, the message to him was just go out there and play, have fun. You know what I'm saying? And he went out and did that. First drive, they tried to bring, 7 guys, and he just gets out the edge and goes for about, 70 yards, I think, or something like that, down to the 3-yard line to set up our first touchdown. And, yeah, I think, obviously he would tell you there's a couple throws he wants back, but we expected there to be some minor mistakes with someone stepping into their first game. But I thought he threw the ball well, and, just wish we capitalized on all those opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, and this game was obviously very close throughout. I mean, this team, what were your major takeaways? What did you say to the guys kind of afterwards? It's the last game of the year, and a close battle. You mentioned there were some missed chances, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think my focus after the game was more on just celebrating the seniors.
Yeah,
it's really tough. Obviously we wanted to send them out with a win, and we weren't able to accomplish that. And but just really just honoring them, and I told some of them, in our team meeting the other night, it's just, hey, some of you guys were some of my first kids that I've ever brought here, and most of you guys inherited me. So, I just appreciate everything they did for us, and setting a new culture, setting a new standard. And, obviously you can't control the uncontrollables throughout a year, but, they've elevated this program from where they left it better than when they found it.
Well, speaking of seniors, I wanted to say Jack Morale had his first career touchdown. He's done a lot, during his time as a running back. He hasn't necessarily been a starter, but I know he was banged up, but you got him in there. His one run went for a touchdown.
Yeah, and Jack Morale was hurt, so
yeah.
he wasn't supposed to play.
Right.
Really, probably.
Yeah.
He was cleared to do that. We said that if we get down to the 1 or 2 yard line, I said, Jack, we're going to put you in. You're going to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And, I think it's a pretty special day for him for many reasons. So to get him his first touchdown, and just he's a great kid. He deserves that.
And also another senior who got a touchdown senior day, Mavericks Elementi. He had one last year against Middlebury, but a 54-yarder that got you guys back within a touchdown. And Hamilton was just able to run out the clock after that, but he did get you back in the game there.
Yeah, Mav, obviously was upset about the first opportunity that he didn't bring in, and for him to respond that way, and really good for him to make that play. And then we got it to a 3-point game with 6 minutes left, and unfortunately we just couldn't get off the field on third down.
Yeah, it looked like, time of possession, Hamilton had the ball a fair amount in that game, over 34 minutes, about 9 minutes more than Bates did. Was that a big difference?
Yeah, that was a huge difference. I think for us, we had, pivotal situations in that game where, we get into third downs and we just don't get off the field. In that last drive, there was, a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 7, and, a 3rd and 9 that they converted. And, for us, you got to be in those situations. You got to get off the field. And, offensively, we got to do a better job of sustaining drives. And sometimes that, with some of the bigger plays, you have a 54-yard touchdown. That means you're, only possessing the ball for X amount of time. We have a 72-yard run on the first drive that gets us to the 2-yard run. So, but we stalled on some drives, and, it felt like in the second half we didn't really have the ball that much. The drives weren't sustained, and they went on pretty long drives.
Looking at kind of the season as a whole, Ryan Rosick finished with 13 tackles there on Saturday, and I was looking at his stats this year. My goodness, he ended up finishing with a lot of tackles, over 100 tackles on the year, 109 total tackles this season, which is top 10 in the entire country. This guy was all over the field this year, wasn't he?
Unbelievable. He's an unbelievable leader, unbelievable player. He's not fully healthy any week either, so he's a kid that just grits his teeth and goes to work, and he shows up all over the field. So, he's definitely a guy that, we feel is an all-conference player, obviously, leading the league in tackles, and awesome kid, awesome leader, awesome character.
So now, obviously this year it's kind of like, well, again, you showed what you can do against Amherst in the first game when fully healthy, right? Pretty much fully healthy out of camp. A couple injuries during camp, but almost pretty much completely fully healthy in that game. You showed what you could do against Tufts, even though you didn't have Sergio in that game. You had Ryan Linsky, what he was able to do. So obviously the potential is there. It's just a matter of keeping guys on the field and keep building that depth up with more recruiting, right?
Yeah, and I think, what I talked to the team about last night is quite frankly, like, injuries are going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to use that as an excuse for things, and I don't want our players to use that as an excuse for things. It happens. It obviously is effective when it happens to a lot of your production, but that's part of sport. Build playable depth and have those guys ready to go in those next areas. And I feel like that's our biggest piece right now is a lot of these guys that played this year due to these situations got a valuable experience. We have to compound that so that they can elevate into those roles, whether they're starters or backups, and they come in and now it's not as much of a learning curve, and we can, pick up where you leave off. But you're only as good as your next guy in, and for us, you can't control that stuff. Is it frustrating? 100%. But as coaches, we have to, continue to do a better job of trying to figure out how to put those people in good situations, and we did. We had to morph a lot of things this year based off who we had out there. But in every game, it's, 4 or 5 plays. I talk about it all the time. It's 4 or 5 plays in all these games. And it's not, it's exciting, frustrating, all these emotions at the same time, because it's not like you're getting there, getting beat by 40, and it's like, well, we need to really wholesale things. It's just those pivotal moments, and that's what we have to work on.
Saw some good things from some young guys like Brooks Potter, Liam Keeney. I mean, once again on Saturday, they stood out to me, at least up in the press box.
100%. Those kids are studs. I mean, just their effort. You could see them running, like getting after the quarterback, and that's something that we need to do a better job at. And obviously with those guys in a year in the weight room and development, like they are studs. We feel really confident. 2 freshmen that played almost all 9 games, so from our perspective, they're just going to only get better. So I think there's a lot of good depth there in our first year class, and now they get to become sophomores, and we're going to bring in another 25 to 30 kids, and now it's the full 4 classes, and now it's time. Now we have that playable depth. Now it's about putting the people in the right positions.
Did I ask you what Sergio's thinking about?
I don't know. I will sit down and talk with him.
Okay.
So it's we obviously want him back.
Yeah.
I think it's a decision that the player has to make.
Sure.
We want Sergio to come back, and whatever he decides to do, I'm going to support him 100%. And that's just what it is. And obviously people come to Bates to get these unbelievable jobs and opportunities post academic career or athletic career. But also he's a competitor, and I know that he's thinking about some things, and, we'll have the conversation and figure it out. All
right. Sounds good. Any other thoughts you wanted to share kind of on the season as a whole? Anything else you wanted to mention? 150-year celebration, obviously, to start the year and throughout the season and whatnot. Anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just want to, thank everybody, for their roles all the way down from administration, support staff, our trainers, and then just our alumni. I know, getting messages from those guys with their support is huge, and they understand the situations we went through this year, and obviously we're not happy with where it ended, and sometimes you got to go through some of that and fight through it, but we're going to respond the right way. Our team's ready to get back into the off season. We know we're talented. We know what we're capable of, and now we just have to continue to compound that with recruits and continue to grind at it.
All right, Matt Coyne, thanks so much.
Thank you.
First-year quarterback Connor Hennessey turned in an impressive performance in his first collegiate start, throwing for 224 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran the ball 10 times for 72 yards and gave the Bobcats a chance to win the game down the stretch. For stepping up when the team needed him the most, Connor Hennessey is our male Bobcat of the week. So, Connor, first of all, Coach Coyne was mentioning that you got hurt and you couldn't play your senior year of high school, and so this start on Saturday for you was your first start in quite some time. So how'd you go about preparing? You ended up, I thought, playing pretty well. What were your thoughts on, how you're able to perform despite not having started at quarterback for a couple of years?
Yeah, we came in definitely down a few guys, so I knew I had to step up. I've been preparing all season. Coach Coyne does an amazing job. The whole quarterback room, we all kind of have each other's back in that regard, making sure we're all ready in case something happens. I hadn't played since my junior year of high school, so honestly, the biggest thing for me was just excitement coming into the week. I knew that I got to prepare like a starter, and I got to go out and play with my guys.
So when you were in high school and you were looking at colleges, what made Bates the place for you?
Yeah, so I was looking all the way from Division I to Division III. And Coyne came in and recruited me to play quarterback, and that's really what I wanted to do. And it was just the coaching staff, the community, like all the guys I'd met on my visit, obviously the academic standards here, and it's relatively close to home. So all of those things just added up to a perfect match.
So coming to college now, having not played for a year or so, what was the biggest adjustment coming in right away? Like, go back to camp. Take us through what was going through your mind. Everyone tells me it's the speed of things, right?
Yeah, exactly. So definitely fast-paced when I first got here. It was a little bit of a smack in the face, and I honestly was just in shock. But as the weeks kept going and my teammates kind of helped me out, and Coach Coyne really spent time with me just working on identifying coverages and the pace of the game, because that's just stuff I hadn't experienced yet up through high school. So definitely a big adjustment, but nothing we couldn't handle.
Tell us about your background, like growing up. When did you first get into football? When did you first start playing quarterback, perhaps?
Yeah, so I wasn't allowed to play football up until my 7th grade year. So I had dealt with some concussion stuff in the past and some issues just off the field with like health issues. So my family was like, no, like we're going to stay away. So my dad actually decided to take me to a doctor and was like, obviously he's going to say no with all this stuff. And the doctor was like, yeah, that sounds perfectly fine. And he was pissed. My dad was pissed. And I ended up getting the all go to go play quarterback. And it had always been quarterback since day one. I love Tom Brady and growing up a Patriots fan. So, I mean, it's hard not to want to be the quarterback.
Now, you're a lefty, though, out there.
I am a lefty, yeah.
What's that like? How's that change things?
I mean, for me, obviously, there's no difference.
There's no difference,
I think for like the receivers, I've been told that this ball spins differently. So they had to kind of get adjusted to that. And obviously the line, like I'm going to roll out the other way. So it's a little bit of just like adjustment for my teammates. But for me, it's just same old football.
So what does your dad think now?
You know, I think he's pretty pumped.
Yeah.
He's enjoying the culture up here with the tailgates and just the community that the football team has. My family's loving it, and they've been embraced amazingly.
So I loved your long run in that first quarter. That wasn't designed, was it?
No. Coyne kind of knew that running was definitely a specialty of mine. I was a 3-sport high school athlete, and I played lacrosse, ran track, and you know my arm is good, but it's not anything special. I don't think. I mean, I think all the quarterbacks in the room are very, very good athletes, and my legs definitely helped me. And so when I saw that they were giving us man coverage and I felt a little pressure in the face, I was able to just get out of there and just get running.
Were you a little surprised, like, oh, I keep going? Because
I mean, initially I'm looking around, I'm like, where is everyone?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an awesome experience to get the game started.
And it was nice to get a senior Jack Morale his first career touchdown, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were so pumped about that. We'd been talking about that prepping into the week, and I mean, I think that was his only run of the day.
Yeah.
And so it was awesome that we could get down there and get that for him on senior day.
Yeah, certainly. And so, I mean, for you now, you know, heading into the off season, what are some things you're going to be focusing on, you know, whether it be in the weight room or come spring ball, perhaps, you know, to prepare for next year? Yeah,
I think the whole team is super dialed in on just preparing for this next season. Obviously, the record didn't replicate what we wanted out of this year. And so I think for not only just me, but everyone else on the team, I mean, we're just focused on development, and we got a really good group coming back, and I think we are going to make some noise next year. And so I think it's going to be in the weight room, on the field, and just overall, like, team camaraderie. I think the team development is going to be huge over this offseason.
Great. Well, any other thoughts you wanted to share about your first collegiate start?
It was awesome. I mean, that's pretty much. Obviously, I wish more than anything we got the win. You know, that was the biggest thing. I was so disappointed that we couldn't come out with it. And it was just the small little things that felt like kept happening to us all season. And you know, it was great being able to play, but we wanted to win. For a first start in a couple of years, not too shabby there. Over 200 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns, and leading the team in rushing as well. Connor Hennessey, our male Bobcat of the week. Thanks so much for joining us on the Bobcast. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's time to get our winter sports previews going on the Bobcast, as we start with men's basketball with head coach John Furbush and his squad heading to the Gordon Classic this Friday and Saturday for a pair of neutral site games against Anna Maria College and Plymouth State.
It's been a while since I've had this many returners in our rotation, and so yeah, we're really excited about what we can do. I think there's just so many more knowns going into the season. With we put in a new system last year, so we really only have one class of guys that we're teaching right now. The other 3 classes kind of have a good understanding, and they've done a really good job of getting the first years up to speed on what we're doing. And so, you know, having the same staff, there's good energy and optimism about what we can do, and a lot of work to be done. But we just want to stack today on top of yesterday. That's our focus right now.
Babacar Pui obviously has been a big time contributor since he got to campus. What's his next step, maybe individually, to, I know he's looking to, spread the court out a little bit more. He can shoot the ball from deep too.
Yeah, he's really improved his perimeter skills. So we have some flexibility to move him down to a 4 to sort of go with a bigger lineup. And so, yeah, he can score a variety of ways. He just does things I can't teach. And like our default is like, hey, we're struggling, let's throw him the ball. That's a pretty good. Good things happen when he touches it. So, yeah, I think you're going to see him in a versatile way this year, playing both on the interior and the exterior, and he's really improved his ability to guard. We can switch 1 through 5 with him at times. So, he's a special one. I'm glad we still have him here.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you look at this team last year. I remember the Wesleyan game was such a battle, overtime, if I recall, when Wesleyan was at the time, I believe, undefeated. Yeah. I mean, so you guys showed you can compete with the very, very best in the country. What's it going to take to kind of turn some of those closer games into wins, really?
Yeah, no, I think experience is the best teacher. Yeah. And when I look at our last 3 Saturdays of NESCAC play, where overtime lost to Middlebury, overtime lost to Wesleyan, overtime lost to Tufts, And I think we just had to kind of go through those struggles to understand what it takes to win. And a lot of times, the last 2 minutes of the game or the overtime, it gets magnified when realistically, like, we didn't start any of those games the right way. And I think we just dug ourselves a hole and found our way out. But I think moving forward, again, we know what we're doing. And I think, these guys have a genuine belief. I think last year was like, I hope we don't lose. And now that's like, no, we're going to win those games. And I think just their collective mindset has really shifted this past season.
Tell me about your captains this year.
Yeah, we got 2 senior captains in Elliot Kravitz and David Omasambo, and they've done a really good job this fall, just organizing all the things that we do in the preseason, but also making sure that guys are accountable when we're not there as coaches. And but they've done an awesome job. We have 4 other seniors. They've done a really good job empowering those 4 to step up in leadership roles as well. I kind of look at them as like a leadership team, those 6 seniors. And the nice thing is it's been a while since we've had this, but 5 of our 6 guys in the senior class will be in the rotation. So it's nice to have actual experience and age out there. And that's been kind of the downfall last year with some of those games. We had like 18-year-olds out there against some 24-year-olds.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of those seniors, Shawer Mayen, who had his moments last year. I mean, you had that game against St. Joseph's, which was a good team. Like, they went on to win like a bunch of games in a row after that, where Bates beat them, where he had like all those dunks, and it was just a highlight reel waiting to happen. Had some big dunks early on in NESCAC play. He can certainly throw it down. What's the key for him to be like, a guy who stays out there for a large portion of the game?
Yeah, he's somebody that he just has been playing basketball a ton. I think now he's really understanding what we're doing. We've simplified everything for him, so he can just really be fixated on the things that he needs to do to help us be productive. He's had an awesome first few weeks of practice, and I've told him multiple times. I said I need the St. Joe's and the Tough Shawer for all 24 games this year.
Yeah,
and he's really coming into his own, and it's awesome to see, because I just know how hard this kid works. I anticipate him having a pretty big season for us.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's all about consistency, right? That's the hardest thing, I feel like, is that consistency factor.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing we've been preaching is if you want to play, we just, you don't have to do these highlight things all the time. We just need to know that we're going to get X out of you every single day. And I think everybody's been really focused on that these first 2 weeks of practice. And, I have some challenging decisions to make on who we're going to play this weekend. But the nice thing is we can go well beyond 10 in our rotation and not feel like we're dropping off in any capacity.
We all know Brady Coyne can really score it. So what else does he need to do to kind of keep, his level of play, at the level it's been?
Brady's he's improved his defense and his just practice habits. He's somebody that I think every coach has a player like this, where they just have an extra gear when the game comes around, and we've been trying to get him to that extra gear in practice every day and setting the tone. And he's had some awesome practices where the other 15 guys have just been so inspired by how hard he's playing. And I think Brady's really done a good job just raising our floor up in practice where we don't have those lulls. It's just, he's practicing so hard. So I think his ability to guard multiple positions has really been an exciting thing for me. And obviously he can shoot anywhere inside half court. Is like, I just feel confident when he shoots it, like that's probably going in.
Yeah, certainly. And so, just anything else fans should know about what we can expect to see from this year's Bobcats? Anything else you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I think that I think the pace of play last year we played fairly slow offensively because we were learning in real time how we wanted to play, and again our default was like just throw Bobcat the ball and everyone figure it out. But I think our pace of play is something that we're taking pride in. They've had a really good preseason with their conditioning, and we're trying to substantially increase our scoring output. Now, whether or not we do that this season is an unknown, but I think we're definitely trying to play faster. And so I think the brand of basketball will be a little more exciting. Well,
and also Sparks and O'Leary as first years. I know Sparks got off to a slow start, but he definitely showed. I mean, he had moments, and I feel like he's going to be the point guard, right? I mean, it's his offense to run a little bit, right?
Yeah, no, he's so steady. I mean, we know what we're going to get. He pushes the ball. He's the one that makes us go fast, and he really does an awesome job there. He's much more comfortable, and I think he spent, he knows I would say this to him anyways. Like he spent a lot of time on the floor last year. He'd get bumped, he'd go down. But he's gotten a lot stronger this offseason. He's got way more confidence and ability to lead, and I think he's going to be a big reason why we get to, we push the ball in transition. And yeah, Sean's he's tough. I mean, everybody has a different definition of toughness and hard work, and his is as close to mine as anyone I've ever coached. He's a special player.
He does a little bit of everything, it seems like.
Yeah, and both those two sophomores you mentioned, I mean, they could care less about their shots. I mean, if you look at our numbers last year, they probably combined. They started and played 20+ minutes a game, and I bet they averaged less than 6 field goal attempts. I mean, to them, like, they just want to play and win and do the right thing, and it's super contagious. And we have 17 guys on the roster now that have that same mentality, and I think we're in a good spot. And I think Friday night will be a telltale sign if what we're doing is actually the right thing.
All right, John Furbush, thanks so much.
Thanks, Aaron.
The Bates women's basketball team opens their season this Saturday at 3 p.m. when they host WPI at Alumni Gym. Head coach Alison Montgomery's team is highly touted entering this season, and she joins us to give us an idea of what to expect from this year's edition of the Bobcats. The team made the NCAA tournament again last year, of course, graduated one senior. Some high expectations from some preseason prognosticators, ranked 12th in the country by D3Hoops.com. El Stellario, preseason second-team All-American. What are your thoughts on some of these early season accolades before you've even played a game yet?
Yeah, just exactly what you said, Aaron. We haven't played a game yet.
Right.
Really excited about the squad we've put together, and we have 14 returners out of our 16 women on our team. So having that experience and some returners who have played some good basketball in their past, like we're excited about that. But yeah, we haven't talked about that preseason ranking. Really not important, and we're just kind of focusing on process and getting better every day.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, Elsa, this is her senior year. She's one of the captains. What kind of next steps do you want to see from her, to finish her career on a high note here?
Yeah, I think she's developed so much every year, and I just want her to sort of have the opportunity to roll together this great experience she's had in her first 3 years and just play with a ton of poise and confidence as she leads her team this season. So I think, her career started as a first year. She had to step in and play right away on the heels of a teammate, being out for the season with an injury. And so she's gotten a lot of experience in our program, and no one represents better just sort of what we're about as our program, our values, and what we're trying to represent every day. No one does it better. So just want her to go out and play with a ton of poise and confidence, to not really have that feel like pressure, but just to feel like she's prepared, both as a player and as a leader, and just go out there and see what we can do.
Your other captain is Ava James, who had kind of a breakthrough year last year. Had some big moments for the Bobcats. Some especially some good shooting that was nice to see. What's her next step? Also,
yeah, I think Ava is a leader for us in a lot of ways. I think something that's been her separator, and that her teammates have really looked to, and something we definitely respect as coaches, is just her consistency, which is a value. One of our 3 values this year as a team is consistency. I think, of course, that a part of that is in performance for sure. I think another really, really important component to that is just the way you show up every day, right? So whether you're playing well, whether you've come off a win or a loss, or whether your shot's falling or it's not, or whether there's outside things off the court that are challenging you. I just think, we are working every day towards just remaining really consistent teammates and players. And Ava's really modeled that in her time at Bates and with our program. And so we're just really going to look for that steadiness to continue in her senior year. And yeah, last year she had a really great year where sort of that came together for her in terms of performance and leadership. So just excited to see more of that.
So you mentioned 3 values. Could you break them down for us? I know every year there's values you want to emphasize. So what are they this year, you said?
Yeah, joy is number one,
okay.
and an overwhelming one from our squad this year. Trust and consistency.
Okay.
So those are the 3 high level things we're focusing on.
So joy, how do you emphasize that in practice and stuff?
Yeah, I think a big part of that is, I think coming off our season last year, I do think something that challenged our squad was managing pressure and expectations with a program who's, had some success here and there, and sort of I think our team at times has wanted it so badly, has been so committed, has worked so hard to achieve certain goals. I think in moments being overwhelmed with some focus on outcome and just getting lost in that versus process, just finding joy in every moment. And I think we've really, in our preseason conversations, really differentiated between joy and happiness, right? I think anytime you're chasing something that's really hard and something that forces you to stretch all your limitations as a human in terms of chasing a goal, like there's days you're not happy. There's days that, whether again it's something related specifically to the goal you're chasing on the court, or if it's just all the other things we're managing outside of that, some days are tougher than others, but we've just decided as a group it's really important to maintain that perspective that through anything you can find joy and perspective, and they're all doing something they love. So really trying to bring that lightness and that fun and really wanting to, you can't escape feeling pressure, but really wanting to frame that in a way that is about around something that they have a lot of joy for.
Another key player for the team, obviously, Sarah Hughes had a great start last year, hit a little rut as the team kind of did in the middle of the season, and then finished really strong, especially in the NCAA tournament. What's the key for her, because she's obviously had a very strong start to her career, and, I think really for the first time faced some adversity maybe last season.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the fun of this whole journey, which remind me of that when we go through our different bumps this season, Erin, because we go through them every single season. But that's sort of the fun of it, is to watch all these women experience growth in their 4 years and also have that reflected in the growth of our program. So I think it's no different for her than anyone else on any other woman on our team. It's like getting through the ups and downs together, maintaining that perspective of joy, whether we're facing an adversity or whether we're playing really well, either that's as an individual or collectively. So I think just helping each of them to really focus on our overall values. But of course, Sarah, as an upperclassman, as a junior, really, we would just want her to play free and with joy.
Speaking of other upperclassmen guards, Sophie Spolter, who had the spectacular layup to propel you to win in the first round of the NCAA tournament last year. She obviously, she certainly has she knows what she's good at, and she does that, right?
Yes, which is our sort of slogan this year is "Do you be us?"
Right.
That's our slogan, and we want each woman to be to understand we all come with strengths, we all come with weaknesses, we work on those weaknesses, but really the trick is, can we maximize who we are on the court, and can we bring that every day? And no one does that better than Soph, and she brings it with a lot of enthusiasm. She's really our engine in that way. She plays that way. She plays free and bouncy with a lot of energy, and that's also her personality. So she really, really leads us with that. That's sort of her captain quality. So we're looking for that, and she's really bought into who she is and what she can do on the court and doing it well consistently.
It was one game, but Lily Brown's performance in that first round game makes you wonder what's more there, right?
Oh gosh, LB, as we call her, she's just tenacious. She's a tenacious competitor on both ends. Really, really pushing her to be really consistent on both ends, to play every possession of defense. And to stay really consistent offensively too. But yeah, she has some tools offensively. Her ability to handle off a ball screen is really, really sets her apart on our team. And yeah, she's just, like I said, a tenacious competitor, and she's certainly shown that in the preseason. So we're excited.
So we've talked about Alison, what she can do in the post. Obviously, maybe she will play all 40 minutes. I don't know. But, I mean, when she does have to go to the bench, Danny Adams, a lot of experience. Petra Kuntz got some minutes last year. Obviously, she was hurt coming into Bates, but seems to be healthy. What's her next step, kind of?
Yeah, we're really excited. I think, we really want to be able to balance those minutes more for Elsa, and to give some more, more opportunities to other posts. So really excited about both of them. Like you mentioned, Danny has had a lot of experience, and she really brings a certain skill set to the team. That turnaround lefty jumper is tough to guard. Petra has really settled in. Like you said, coming off a string of injuries and really kind of had been out of the game consistently for a bit because of her injuries. So we're really excited. I mean, she has some real gifts athletically in terms of her length and her ability to move. So we're really, really excited about her as well.
Just looking up and down the roster, I mean, the vast majority of these players who are coming back have played fairly significant minutes. Even some of the sophomores, last year's, first years, got in there. And so are you excited about the depth you have here?
Yes, really excited. We keep talking about that sort of as a coaching staff.
Yeah.
And, we are also fully aware it's, November 11th and we have not played a game. So we'll talk in a couple weeks and I may have another perspective. But yeah, we feel great about our depth. And there's certainly a difference. I think last year we understood some of the just inherent, I want to say challenges, but it's more just what it is. We had 6 first years last year and 1 senior. So while we had some experience there smushed in the middle of our roster, like there is no sort of replacement for experience. So we're really feeling the difference this year in our preseason with 14 returners. And like you said, even though some of those are underclassmen, like they've had really valuable game experience and have all contributed earlier in their career. So we are feeling that difference and we are excited about that depth. Yeah.
Tell us about the first-year guards, how they're adjusting to college so far. You got London Perry out of Dallas, Texas, and Claire Gattani right here out of Maine.
So great. We're really, really excited about both of them. They both bring a great dimension to our team, both sort of at the guard spot. Claire's just a big, strong, physical guard who can really play both ends, really is a weapon offensively, can score at all 3 levels, and has really, really been great with defensive pressure as well. London seemed so tough. Preseason scrimmage, she drew 2 charges, so she's competing with Soph for leading us in charges. But a point guard, smart, strong, and we've actually drawn some comparisons in terms of her vertical leaping ability to our alumnus Davina Kabantu. No one could quite leap like her as a small guard, but London is giving us flashes of that. So they both bring really great elements of skill, athleticism, toughness, and have really sort of acclimated really well also off the court in the classroom and developing with the team.
Anything else you wanted to mention about the upcoming season we haven't gotten to talk about? Anything to look for from the team this year that might be different from past seasons we should watch out for? Anything like that?
I think we're really, the 3 areas we really, really, really want to focus on. We want to be better defensively. I think we have all the tools. We have the personnel for that. So we want to see that a little more measurable in terms of our numbers, in terms of, turnovers we're forcing, in terms of just the discomfort we're making teams feel, in terms of being a little bit more of a denial team and just playing more up-tempo defensively. We really want to be a better rebounding team. So we've been focusing on that a ton, really on both ends. And then transition is a big focus for us too. Again, we feel that we have the depth, the athleticism, the speed. So really want to try to score early and really want to be defensively really tough in transition as well.
All right. Bobcats have a bunch of home games here in November, starting this Saturday at 3 o'clock against WPI in Alumni Gym. Alison Montgomery, thanks so much for previewing the season with us.
Thank you, Aaron.
The swimming and diving teams are also home this Saturday as the Bobcats host Wheaton at 1 p.m. in Tarbell Pool. Head coach Peter Casares joins us for a season preview. Well, Coach, you got your first meet of the year coming up this Saturday against Wheaton, 1 o'clock right here at Tarbell Pool. Tell me a little bit about what you're most looking forward to seeing in terms of the Bobcats getting the water in a competitive atmosphere for the first time this season.
Well, I think, first meet of the season, we're looking for where our results are at and how the training's been over the last 3.5 weeks. But also, the vibe on the deck, the culture, the leadership from our seniors and our junior class. And to be honest, we have more than half of our junior class abroad right now. So I'm interested to see, with kind of our freshmen outnumbering our juniors and seniors, or being equal in size, how much they pay attention, how much they watch. We're going to talk about, figuring out what the Bates way is at a swimming and diving meet, and how we handle ourselves and how we deal with great swims and ones that leave us wanting more. And just to check in on that and make sure things are headed in the right direction and the identity's going the right way.
Great. Tell me about your captains this year.
We've got on the men's team two of our most successful and talented guys in program history, Marich Samridovich and Max Corey. And on our women's side, just amazing leaders in Lily Barasonic and Liana Roseman. I would say that the chemistry among our captains, all four of them, has been wonderful, and they are both leading the team really well right now. And everybody's kind of heading in a really strong direction. Max has been sick with mono this year, so it's been about 3-4 weeks out of the water almost, and he's just getting back in this week, a little bit at the end of last week. So he's been missing a bit and recovering, but it's just a great senior class all around. So we haven't missed a beat. We're still working hard and accomplishing our goals day in and day out, and I couldn't be more happier with the leadership we have right now.
Yeah, you mentioned Max. Obviously, when a swimmer is down with an illness like that for a while, how long is the recovery? Typically, I'm sure this has happened before, but for an elite swimmer like Max, he was national champion. What are you kind of hoping for the timeline here?
Well, Max is a national champion because he believes in himself.
Yeah.
And he can manifest things just as well as anybody I've ever coached. So Max says he's fine. And he's ready. He's ready to go, and he's ready to put up the nation's best times this weekend. And my brain over the last 25 years of coaching says, it's going to be a little bit of a shock to the system to race and to repeat that type of energy demand over and over again, and there will be a little adjustment, a little bit of patience in getting back into fighting shape. But I think we'll see something really good out of him because he is on a mission and wanting to really accomplish some things. In the past, we've had people get mono and come back and get lifetime best. So it's nothing that we haven't seen before. I'm glad it happened early and hoping that the rest of the season is smooth sailing.
Yeah, looking at the men's swimming and diving team before we talk about the women's team here, last year, obviously, their best finish ever at NCAAs. I know they won a couple NESCAC relay titles. That was a big goal going in. What's the next step for them? I know they have big goals. There's a lot of returners. There's got to be some high expectations here, right?
We're going to have to attempt something for the first time ever in school history, and that's defending our relay titles.
Sure.
It's good to have the group back that did it and ready for that. I think they would like to potentially take down a medley relay and be an NESCAC champion in there. And, I'll say it out loud. Max has got the gang dreaming big and thinking an NCAA relay is possible. And we've got to get all four guys going really fast, whoever those four are. But I wouldn't put it past them at the same time. I think, some things that we hope for as a program, top 10 at NC2As, our highest finish ever has been 4th at NESCACs. We're hoping for a 3rd. Some of that's out of our control, though, because you can't necessarily stop other teams from swimming really well or recruiting in great athletes. So we have to see where the chips are and what needs to happen and run some numbers and see where the places would need to be and what we'd have to do to be in a running for those types of things. And you can look at results over the last 5 years and see how many points 3rd place got at NESCACs and how many points 10th place got at nationals. And you can look and say, okay, if we score this many people in these heats, we have a chance at that. And so there's the ability for us to get really objective on that and see if it can happen. And if things go well and they stay healthy and some of our really talented juniors that are abroad come back, it's possible.
Certainly. And now the women's team, I understand a pretty good recruiting class coming in, some more depth this year. I know Sarah Palmer obviously is back. She was a really strong swimmer for you last year, an All-American obviously. So tell me a little bit about what we can expect from the women's team. Who are some maybe swimmers who haven't been on the radar, maybe who might be stepping up also?
If I look right to our two senior captains, Liana was abroad for a semester, and she was a force to be reckoned with freshman and sophomore year, and turned out to be an A relay swimmer with a really short season last year. And I think if a good season of training is under her belt, like, people are going to turn their heads and go, where did she come from? Similarly, Lily Barasonic has been just the hugest bright spot freshman, sophomore year, and then ran into multiple injuries last year, sprained ankles, subluxed knees, like just one thing after another. An illness got thrown in there, I believe. So staying healthy for her and getting back to her, top 16, potentially top 8 scoring ability is huge. We've got some very talented women. We do have, a bit of like a thing going on right now with some illnesses and some injuries. And so we got to get some people healthy that can make a big impact. Izzy Chow, Soph Klossman, Kendall Keshen, they were all big swimmers for us in the past. And so they're coming off injuries right now and trying to get healthy. And so I bet we'll see more from them at Wesleyan and Maine State. And then we have a bigger freshman class than we've had in years and a lot of depth. And I'm seeing some things in practice that make me go, this reminds me of a Sarah Palmer coming in here and developing into an NCAA level athlete from a couple of them. So it looks like a good class, and the class gets along really well, and they have great chemistry. So I'm excited. We do have a lot of women abroad right now, so the women's team will get much bigger come December, January, which will help us out when we're filling out dual meets, that and the injury side of things. So I think it's going to be the men, are big enough, and the talent is here on campus for the most part, except for Tim Johnson abroad. In terms of returning NCAA athletes, that they'll hit the ground running and start to make statements right away. And I think the women's team is going to be like building that momentum and heating up as the season goes on. And if we do things right, peaking really well. Another bright spot, as I kind of think through things, we have a senior, Michaela Kendall, who is an All-American or a national level swimmer freshman year. And she's back this year, healthy, great mindset and killing it in practice. So that's another kind of like bonus for us, because she came back from a semester abroad last year and got kind of thrown into it. So I'm excited to see what we can do and see who steps up and how things are going.
Tell me about the coaching staff this year.
So we have Boomer Drusniak, who was a part-time assistant last year. He has joined us full-time, and he's taken on the D squad. Just super excited, a student of the sport. We're all kind of self-proclaimed swimming nerds, and I think Boomer fits in, exceptionally well, doing all the research, researching everything. And he has a plan for his group that I'm seeing unfold, and I'm really excited with. And I see the athletes getting better, really doing some things differently and pushing them hard. And then we have Ellen Varley who just graduated from St. Olaf last year as a great captain of her team, conference finalist, very talented from a great swimming background with her mom and her grandfather both being coaches. And she spent, 4 years swimming for one of the NCAA's best coaches in Bob Hauk at St. Olaf, who has been NCAA Coach of the Year and coached national champions in both men and women multiple times over. So she's seen some really high-end swimming, but she brings a really nice X factor here, just enthusiasm, a great attitude, and an ability to really connect with the team as somebody that just lived it, but also understands, what it can be when you leave it and how important it is to you and how to manage school and swimming and to keep things in perspective. So I think she's been a really big plus right from the get-go.
Great. Anything else we should know about swimming and diving teams before we get the season started this Saturday?
Yeah, we got a brand new diving coach this year too, Kelsey Bell. She's a former Tufts diver, really a standout athlete. And she moved to Maine, and we got really lucky that someone was within driving distance, and we're recruiting people on campus and getting recruits excited. So I'm excited to kind of build up that diving program with someone that could be here for a while. So we're excited to have Kelsey join us too, and she's another important part of the coaching staff. And diving is huge for us. The better we get at that, the better we're going to be. So we've got a bright future right now with the staff in place and a full package kind of coming together, and some fun times ahead. So we look forward to starting to keep score this weekend.
All right, Peter Casares, thanks so much.
You bet. Have a great one.
By the time next week's Bobcast comes out, we'll know if field hockey can make more history, as they're aiming to advance to the Final Four for the first time. Saturday is an exciting one at Bates, as field hockey hosts either Amherst or Stevens at 11 a.m. in the Sweet 16. Swimming and diving hosts Wheaton at 1 p.m. And women's basketball is home against WPI at 3 p.m. Stay up to date on all the latest Bates athletics news by heading to GoBatesBobcats.com. And we'll catch you next time on the Bates Bobcast.